All right, my friends, welcome to episode 332 of Prof and Dev Play Games. I am the Professor Larry at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. Over there is Anthony the Dev at Summerspeak, and we have our friend Travis here. We're all going to talk about Elden Ring. But before we get there, I just want to say, get my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Do you have any idea why I'm saying that?
No.
Nope.
Oh my god.
Oh, wait. Yeah, actually, now I do.
Oh my god, the Oscars tonight. Apparently.
I didn't see the Oscars, but I'm thinking it from a social standpoint, not.
No,
Oscars.
it's the fucking Oscars. Chris Rock made a joke about Will Smith's wife that Will Smith didn't like, and he walked on stage and slapped him in the face.
Oh, what?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm going to have to Google this after.
You're gonna have to find that.
Actually, I'm probably going to Google it right now and watch it the second this is over.
Wow.
Find the Australian version. It's uncensored. Will Smith is in the audience just screaming after he hit Chris Rock and sat down. Chris Rock's just like, I just got slapped the shit out of by Will Smith. Like Chris Rock handled it so well, it seemed like it was a stunt, but Will Smith was not. It was not a stunt. So that happened.
Okay.
So that was a boss fight.
Didn't even realize that the Oscars were happening tonight.
Apparently they are.
One reason why I did is because I was searching the World Cup information, and for some reason the news ticker was going off about what's her name, Zendaya's dress, and I'm like, what? Why is it? Is this really a thing? And then my wife was like, oh yeah. Okay.
So many things happening, but in our world, all we've been doing is playing Elden Ring, and we've come together tonight to fucking talk about it, because that game is awesome. Last week we talked about Horizon. I just finished it, and I was yet to start Elden Ring, and in the past week I put 15 hours into it because it's fucking amazing. Everything that Anthony said last week is so far bearing out for me. But we just wanted to have a conversation about it. I'm not sure how sensitive Travis is to spoilers. I'm not really that sensitive.
Not at all.
Okay, great.
Even if I know it's coming, it's still always experiencing it and knowing it are two very different things.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're sensitive to Elden Ring spoilers, maybe click off. But we are going to talk about it because it's awesome, and we're going to talk about it in all its glory. So for me, the thing that has been so fun is just discovering shit. Just randomly walking into weird ass shit. I walked out of a cave, and all of a sudden this huge fucking dragon came out of the sky and on that Aegeal lake. I was on the Discord with Travis and Kartik, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? And it just got into a big old dragon fight.
It's a dragon.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
If you think that one's surprising, there's other surprises similar vein that will bite you in the ass hard.
I bet. Like you're like walking through the ground, all of a sudden the dragon comes out of the fucking ground and eats you or some shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm kidding. Is that serious?
Well, not out of the ground because they're dragons. They come out of the sky. But Aegeal gives you a little bit of time. Like you hear him, and then you can look around and actually see him if you look up quick enough. And you have a good 5-10 seconds before he actually makes landfall.
Mm-hmm.
I have discovered another one that does not give you that courtesy.
Just lands on your fucking head.
Correct.
Just beams down out of the sky like a bat out of hell. You're like, holy crap, there's a dragon here. And he waits till you've gotten to a point where he's literally cutting off your exit too.
Oh, damn.
I discovered afterwards that there are other exits, but at the time I thought the only exit was the one that he was covering. I'm like, oh, shit. But yeah.
But those kind of surprises, man. Like, I feel like they're just everywhere. There's something. It was like Breath of the Wild, right? And people have talked about it, but everywhere you go, you're rewarded with something, like a view or a grace site or a fucking, I don't know, Ash of War or
a dungeon, something to explore, something to do.
Yeah. There's like a dungeon that has a fucking hole in the back that then leads to another fucking thing. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I told you guys the other day that there's only been one game that I've ever stopped and just took it in for a couple minutes. And it was a combination of just the audio and visuals of it. And that was Destiny 2, and specifically in the raid, the Deepstone Crypts. Like, you get to the point where you're up there and you can just look out and it's space. But the audio and everything involved in it, just absolutely amazing. And then I found an area in Elden Ring where I walked into it and it was the same thing. I just stopped. And for a good minute or two was just looking at the scenery because, again, the audio is just as much of a part of it as is the visuals. And then I kept moving through that area. Then again, it just caught my breath again. And I had to stop and stare at it. And this is only the second game that's ever done that for me, and it did it twice within like 20 minutes. So
Yeah. It is a remarkable game.
The sense of wonder and exploration that I'm experiencing in 15 hours, that can't continue.
No, it does. It does.
My
all the way
God.
to the end of the game. All the way to the end.
Oh my God, that's unbelievable. I cannot. It's like. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know how, like, from a technical standpoint, they actually made this game in a lifetime. Basically, there is so much intricate content all over the place. And From is a big studio, but they're not huge, so I don't know. I feel like they've been working on this for quite some time.
Well, it's the intricate is what kind of floors me. Like just the detail with like, if you're on horseback, left L1, L2, you slash on your left side, and R1, R2 you slash on your right side. If you're going up a ladder, I think it's R1 attacks up, L2 or R2 attacks down or whatever. Like there's so much detail in even just the way the controller works, and then layer on top so much detail inside of the catacombs, the fights. It doesn't seem like anything's really copy and pasted. Like I just did another catacomb where the boss was that jumping cat thing that they call a watchdog, but then this one had like the imps as add-ons, and it made that fight different and fucking annoying as shit. But it just seems so thought out and thoughtful. And I thought Sekiro, you played that, right, Travis? Sekiro?
Oh yeah.
Was that 2019? When was that?
2018.
Something.
We're all like, we should be able to just Google this real quick.
2019, March 2019.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I guess I would assume Elden Ring was in pre-production before that came out.
I bet Elden Ring. Honestly, I think Elden Ring's probably been in some form of production.
Well,
probably for about 5 years is my expectation. That they just had a small team working on it originally, and just
as people became available, started.
Yeah, basically, I bet as when Sekiro wound down, everyone just moved to Elden Ring, but they had a foundation to just run from at that point. So it was just like build content, go. Because I'm sure from when was Dark Souls 3?
2014.
FromSoft, what have you done? Dark Souls 3 was 2016.
Bloodborne would have been 2017, 2018. No, wait, Bloodborne came in between
2015.
Yeah.
Bloodborne was before 3?
Yeah.
Oh.
A year. 1 year. Exact. To the
day.
To the day. And really, I mean, that's consistent with like From's thing. Dark Souls 2 was 2014, Bloodborne 2015. I feel like they probably do have multiple teams working on things. I think they've confirmed that. So there's some leapfrogging going on. But my honest feeling is the Dark Souls 3 team shipped Dark Souls 3, started making Elden Ring.
While the other team was working on Sekiro still.
Sekiro.
Yeah, right. That makes sense, because I mean, I've got 3 map pieces. It's West Limgrave, East Limgrave, and Weeping Peninsula. Right. And I assume there's more to this game than those 3 areas, but there's so much in these 3 areas. That's like, by the time I'm done, it's going to be like at least 30 hours.
No more than that.
Yeah, probably more than that, yeah.
You've barely scratched the surface of the map.
Yeah, I would probably say that you've seen about maybe 15% of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say 50, around, I was going to give them more just 15 to 20, but yeah, actually, if you take in the underground shit, 10 to 15.
Have you? So you have the 3 maps. You have the 3 parts of Limgrave, basically.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Have you been to the eastern side?
I went there to kill a sleepy dragon.
Yeah, he's been the Caleb.
The Mistwood Ruins.
I don't know what that is.
No,
I mean in Limgrave, the eastern side of Limgrave, not Caelid.
No, I haven't. I have not explored the eastern side of Limgrave yet at all, except to find a teleporter to get over the fucking dragon and Caelid.
Yeah, you're missing quite a bit over there.
I've done literally nothing over there.
Yeah. So there's stuff to do there. You'll find a place called Siofra Riverwell.
Yeah.
Siofra, Siofra. I don't know. Ask George R. R. Martin. I don't know.
Yeah, how do you pronounce your names, dude?
Do you think those are his names?
Some of them are. Some of them you're like, oh, that's a Martin name. I don't know how detailed his lore Bible was that he gave to them, but
I feel like the 2-finger and the 3-finger thing are from George R. R. Martin because
the
hand of the king is split into two.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a whole chunk there of Limgrave that you have.
I feel like I'm never gonna get out of. I'm never gonna get out of Limgrave. There's so much to do. It's like the Hinterlands. I feel like I'm in the Hinterlands, but it's way more engaging than the Hinterlands. I haven't even beat. You know, you fucking the way that the shit is designed is amazing. Like in terms of like in some way turning some game design on its head. Where like you get to Stormvale Castle, you're like, all right, I'm gonna move through this castle, and at the end I'm gonna surely fight a boss. No, you fucking start with a huge ass boss who's not even the main boss. There's a boss later who I haven't fucking got to yet. And it's just like you get your teeth kicked in from the beginning. So
well,
good.
I mean that's been FromSoft's thing with the Dark Souls. Demon Souls, the very first thing you do, there is a boss that you fight within the first 10 minutes. And
but you're not meant to beat that one, right?
No,
yeah.
But it's the same thing, and they've done that multiple times. But even then, again, they put bosses in front of you relatively quickly in all of their games.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I see the bones of every game from Demon Souls all the way up through Sekiro in this game, which is why when Anthony was making his comment about teams working on stuff and then shifting over, I'm like, okay, because I also do something, I'm like, okay, there's the Sekiro influence, the jumping, the verticality, adding in, like, as I said the other day, I was in Stormvale for like the 10th time, and I found another area in there that I had never even seen before and didn't know it existed because I just happened to jump in this one direction that I hadn't jumped before. And I was like, holy crap, here's another path. So you see the bones of everything in those games in Elden Ring. So that's why, as I said, when Anthony made his comment about them shifting over, I'm like, okay, that makes sense how they were able to do this.
Yeah.
And do it on this scale, because even going back to Demon Souls, it's a really large game.
Yeah,
and
it is.
You can sit there and look at it and be like, you think you get to a certain point, and all of a sudden it's like, nope, we're going to teleport you to this whole nother place that you didn't even know existed. And it was the same thing with Dark Souls. I thought I got to the point where I beat it. It's like, nope, there's a whole nother area that we're going to take you to now that you didn't know existed this whole time.
I feel like every time I approach a treasure chest in Elden Ring, I'm terrified. I'm terrified. I'm like reading all the messages around it, seeing if anyone's saying this is going to teleport me, because I don't want to get teleported right now. But I know it's coming at some point.
Yes.
Oh my god.
If you're quick enough, you can avoid the teleportation.
Yeah.
So if you open it and roll back, you can get out of the smoke cloud before it takes you.
But is there like some mechanic that I would want to get teleported? Like.
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
Oh yeah. To kill said giant dragon. That's a great way. In general, actually, that teleporter, which takes you to the bestial sanctum, that's just a great place to farm runes.
Oh cool.
There's the little tiny, I don't know what they're called, vulgars or something, that they will murder you dead if they hit you. But you can backstab them and they flinch really easily. So you can take them down and they give over 1,000 runes for each one killed.
Oh, nice.
So you can just keep resetting that and just farm it.
That's a good farm.
It is my go-to place whenever I'm like close to a level and I just want to do it and not risk losing all my runes.
Right. Yeah. Where the fuck was I? I was bitching yesterday in the Discord. I was Stormvale, I think. Oh yeah, Stormvale. and I got to this part where this fucking knight with a big old halberd was walking around a table, and there's like a fireplace or whatever, and I died.
Yep,
Like, okay.
I know where you are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, okay, well, I'll go back. And when I go back, I must have pushed a button or something that says, do you want to use all your runes to go back to the last grace point or something like that? I don't know why it had said that.
Oh yeah, there's an item that does that.
Yeah.
I don't remember selecting that item, but maybe
It's
panic. I did.
I think it's default
Yeah.
in your
Hotkeys.
Yeah, it is in your
Oh,
it's-
you're fucking right. With the up button or whatever.
Yep,
Yeah.
remove that thing. Yeah, whichever one.
Oh, god damn it.
Up button spells an incantation. Down button's items.
Well, I
Yeah.
changed the up button to use item.
Is it your pouch?
Yes, the pouch.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's in your pouch.
Yes.
So your hold triangle one, or in your item
Dude,
list.
He janktified his settings, so there's no way.
I know.
I only changed one button. I moved. Okay, maybe a couple things. I
Never mind. Let's
Wait, the one
go
time
on.
that Larry decided to look at the settings.
I did, yeah. So I moved crouch off of L3 and put it on fucking square because I kept taking a fucking potion or whatever whenever I wanted to crouch. And then I used the spell incantation. I don't have any. I don't use those. So I just put that as use item.
Okay.
So hopefully I never have incantations because that'll be really confusing. But I put use item on L3 and then every time I panicked, I fucking clicked the stick in and used a goddamn potion or a fucking flask. I mean,
Oh, jeez. Yo, I would not do that on L3.
no,
It works just fine on L3 for me.
not me. I'm
Because-
just after fucking 50 hours of Horizon.
The reason being is sometimes those panic crouches cause them to whiff on your hitbox, and you get away scot-free without
that's
getting hit. Because as I
Yeah.
told you, you can emote your way to where your character sits, and they'll swing over your head if they're doing a horizontal slash.
I saw that in a video. Did you turn your whatever the motion control thing on so you can hold triangle and do a motion and do your emote?
No,
Oh, so how do you do an emote on the fly then?
I don't. I'm not that good. I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
No, I'll use the mounting and dismounting of torrent to avoid being taking a hit when I'm out in the world, but I'm not going to try and do the emote shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw that, but I turned on the motion control and started doing the emote thing with it, but I can only get one of them to work. The other ones I'm not quite sure how they work.
Yeah, no, I've never really cared that much about the emote stuff. I only use them when required to progress a quest.
Yep.
Well,
Had to see that one.
every time I see a message that says like praise the wall or praise the whatever, I like
Oh jeez.
the ring. I just like start doing the ring thing everywhere. I'm like, oh, it's some sort of secret tunnel here. There's not. There's
No.
nothing.
I've never seen a tunnel open.
From an emote?
Never mind, I'll take that back.
Okay, somewhere. I'm gonna keep emoting everywhere then.
I was
there must be something here.
thinking about it. I was like, wait, no, actually, I can't remember which one of the Dark Souls one there was an emote that actually unlocked something. Anyways, most of the time, it's all the messages and stuff is a rite of passage. I ignore 90% of them because I sit there and look at it and go, yeah, you're full of shit, because that's just what the community has been doing since day one.
I do appreciate the wary of left ones. Those have worked almost every time.
Right. Well, the fun ones is when someone is like, where you left, and then you get there, it's like, where you left, and it's like, you look to the left, and it comes from the right. That happens too.
Yeah.
Well played. That's good.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's just a rite of passage. The community just kind of fucks with each other a little bit. So if I see where you left, I look left and I look right. If I see where you, I'm just like, I'm looking both ways, dude.
Pretty much. There's a corner and there's a message that says wary. You just
check
know
all
to look.
corners.
You look both
Yep.
ways, yeah. I'm slowly and deliberately moving through the whole world now for the most part because I don't know what the fuck's coming. Like I was walking down a fucking ravine. I was texting you guys earlier in the week. Like I just got invaded. What the fuck? But it was like a stage or a scripted NPC invasion, but like
Yep.
it just came out of fucking nowhere.
Yep.
I start panicking, pushing every
So-
button on the controller.
The other thing to be aware of is if you're running on torrent and then it auto dismounts you randomly, you're getting invaded by it. It's a scripted NPC invasion.
Oh. Fuck. How many of those?
Okay.
I spent 2 so far. How many are there? A bunch?
A bunch.
Yeah.
More than that.
Okay.
Way more than that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how many I could think of. I know of like at least 8 or 9 of them.
Yeah.
And I'm 2/3 of the way through, so I'm assuming there's more than that.
They give cool items though. I got a
Yes.
talisman off one and a dagger off another.
The Reduvia.
Yeah, exactly. Although I can't quit my Uchi Katana. Like that's just I'm gonna keep leveling that up until I beat the game.
Until you get a Moon Veil.
Unsheath the Wind.
Moonveil. Is that a katana?
Yeah, it's a katana.
That is a katana that just has like the super unsheath.
Oh.
But it's a int
weapon
based. Yeah, so you have to. That's why I didn't do it until I was able to respec. And be high enough level because it's a katana.
Yeah.
That is faster than the Uchi Katana by a bit, and then does a magical attack on its unsheath as well. So it does the unsheath, and then it spits out for another like 25-30% in front of it further.
Damn.
A blue line of magic.
Like an arc or whatever you want to
Yeah, an arc goes out.
Mm-hmm.
And it will stagger people so quickly.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well,
ridiculously staggers.
Well, and when you get it's that base, right? You have to level up again.
Yeah. But it takes that one's sombering smithing stones, not.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Any of the like named weapons. What I mean by that is, like Moonveil. I can name off the Blasphemous, the
dagger you just talked about.
The Reduvia.
Yeah.
There's a bunch. There's I don't know how many of them. The grafted sword that you just recently acquired.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Game of Thrones sword.
Those all take the sombering smithing stones. So.
Well, I'm excited to have that Game of Thrones sword, but I can't use it.
Yeah.
Nope. Strength build.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, real quick question. A friend who just joined our Elden Ring Discord channel listens to this podcast. He is playing a bandit, and he's putting all of his leveling up skills or whatever, runes or points or whatever the fuck, into strength.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you do on a bandit?
I don't know. I don't think it. So that's
Doesn't
the thing
matter.
with
Okay.
any of the starting classes. I mean, it's the gear that they start with, but you can basically make
Anything you want out of anyone.
If
but
you're
I'm
not level capping yourself, right? And that's something to be aware of. And that only matters if you're trying to do PvP.
Okay.
So, in previous Souls games, there was always a soul, what we called a soul level, because it was you use souls to level up. But there's basically a level where the community is like, okay, this is the level cap that we're putting on ourselves, and this is where everyone is that wants to do PvP. And historically, that was around usually about 120. But there isn't been kind of a solidified point yet in Elden Ring for the community that I've seen. I've heard 150 thrown out there. But if you're not doing that, then the starting classes are literally just starting gear, and that's it. Because you can respec, you can by leveling, the sky's the limit. You can farm as many levels as you want for as long as you want. But only if you're going to try and do the PvP thing and lock yourself into a level cap. Only then, and even then, the starting class is only for min-maxing purposes only.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see here. With your friend, I would say the thing that to check is what weapon is he using? One, like, did he switch off of the knife to some other weapon that's strength based?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Then yes, he can go strength just fine. I would say if he was going to stick around with that knife,
Not so much then, yeah.
But sure,
He got some sort of claymore or something, I think he said.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
The Claymore is old faithful in the Souls community.
I just can't quit the Uchi Katana. It's so fun. I love it. That unsheath. Putting the no skill Ash of War on the shield, and just having a shield and then being able to unsheath. It's pretty fun. Speaking of that unsheathing, these fucking Everjails. This game has set me up for like summons are fucking great. The Ash of Wars are great. And then I get to an Everjail and it's like, you can't use that shit. You
can use Ash of War, you just can't summon.
Oh, well, in this one I'm in at least. I can't use the Ash of War.
Ash of War is your skill, dude.
Oh, I thought Ash of War was the summons for the Animal. Oh no. That's right.
Oh.
You're right. You're right. Sorry. Yeah, I can use S4, which is great because the unsheath is helping with this guy, but I can't summon my jellyfish at all.
Jellyfish is my homie, but he had to be retired, unfortunately.
Are you still which summons are you using, Anthony?
So on which character?
Oh
Because we
yeah.
should actually say that I started again with a new character. And as of this afternoon, I have completed two great runes already.
Damn. Still rocking the jellyfish or something?
On this build, yes, I'm rocking the jellyfish. There's another summon I would like to be using, but I don't have the FP yet on this build for it. Shockingly, I have the game up right now, so I can answer questions.
Nice. Is it I got an F or a summons for like 100 FP for some sort of like banished knight or whatever?
I want it. My thing is the Lutel the Headless.
Oh.
Yeah.
Legendary. That's the one I want to be using.
Mm-hmm.
104?
4? Yeah. But right now I still rocking the jellyfish for the time being because its FP cost is just super low. Although I've been using the wolves a lot more in this playthrough.
I really like the wolves just because there's 3 of them. They're so distracting for the boss.
And I will say so it's just interesting playing through this new character, which now I'm rocking shield and spear. But faith-based build. The second boss was totally different than the first time I played it. Using Uchikatana and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I had a completely change, and like in that one, I think I did use the jellyfish and had it tanking and doing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
This time through, totally used the wolves and just kept her flinching the entire time, so I could get attacks in, and it worked out really well. That's what's been crazy about the game, just beating it and then choosing a new character and starting. And how different it is now that I'm just doing a shield build with spear. Some fights are easier, some fights are way harder. It just changes. So
were you samurai? You were samurai the first round?
Yeah. Like I said, I got to, I don't know what level I was, but when I did the respec for Moonveil, and then I was like, then you're like casty samurai, because I could wield a staff in one hand and wield the Moonveil in the other hand, so I could glintstone people to pull them and then unsheath, and it was very cast focused.
So it's basically
samurai.
Okay, but you're still, is it 2 melee characters basically in a row?
Yeah, I guess so. I kind of felt, I would say it's 2 melee characters. It's just even the melee characters are very different in their playstyle because I didn't have a shield before, and playing with a shield is a very different approach to fighting things.
I like the charge attack or not charge attack, guard counter, whatever it's called, where you
guard countering.
Guard countering.
Fucking strong as shit. I love it.
It is very strong. Because how you're playing the samurai is not how I played the samurai.
I was two-handed the whole time.
Two-handed, and I was dodging and getting attacks in.
Yeah.
And then the way I'm playing the samurai on my one character is completely different because I'm power stancing 2 Uchikatanas.
There you go.
That's so cool. I wish I could be doing that. It's so cool. I mean, you can play one character so many different ways.
Yeah, and staying true to what the character is supposed to be, not even completely respecing into something completely different. Because Anthony's like Moonveil casting, you're still very much in line with what it is.
Yeah.
You're doing it with the shield, and Uchikatana is still very much in line with what it is, and then or just two-handing it.
Yep.
So there's 4 different ways playing one class right out the door.
Yeah.
I mean, just that alone, the replayability seems like endless almost. But then how much shit there is, and I'm sure you're gonna miss some shit the first run through or whatever. Are you finding new stuff on your second run through?
In Limgrave too.
Oh shit!
I'm like, I spent so much time there, and it's like dumb things of being like, there was a cave, not an important cave really, it's basically where you start the game and then there's the lone knight walking in the woods.
Right.
There's a cave up on the cliffside I had never found. It's not like super visible, really. You have to kind of skirt right by the cliffside, and you're like, oh, there's a cave there. Didn't see that. In the 80 to 90 hours I played through on the first time, didn't see it. Yeah, I found a number of things that I haven't seen the first time I played through the game.
That's so cool.
Pretty amazing, actually.
I found that to be the same with The Witcher, where, I played a lot of that, and obviously White Orchard I did fucking everything, but eventually I didn't do everything. And then when I started playing through again, I was like, oh, I didn't do this before. It's kind of nice to save some of that stuff for a second playthrough, so it kind of feels like new in a way.
Well, the other thing is the conversation we were having earlier about the one quest chain with the summonings and stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Trying to figure, you're like, oh, this is why she didn't move. And I'm sitting there going, I never did that. And she moved just fine. And it's one of those things where, in this instance, it doesn't look like I missed anything, right? But in other instances with other characters, it very much will cause you to miss things. So characters will move from point A to point B, or just cease to exist. And you can miss out on stuff.
Right.
Like, period. End of story. I was doing one character's quest chain and didn't realize that I had triggered an event to happen. And by doing that, I had eliminated an area, like the entire area, the whole castle was now devoid of anything. All the doors had been locked. All the mobs that were in there were gone.
Oh.
Because it was waiting, like it had triggered an event. Luckily, I was able to, after I defeated the boss that the event triggered, I was able to go back to that place and it repopulated, and everything that I had missed was there now. But by doing that, it actually killed off another NPC and ended my ability to do that NPC's chain.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Anthony probably knows exactly what I ended up doing and what castle I'm talking about. But yeah, I triggered something that happened, and now there's an NPC. Like, I went back to talk to him. Was like, nope, he did. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, and I was just for shits and giggles, I looked it up to see what happens when he dies. It's like, oh, I missed out on some items because he's dead. Granted, for the character I'm playing, I'm like, oh, those items don't mean shit to me.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. But it is what it is, so you move on.
Well, and it kind of gives you something to come back to for the second playthrough.
Yeah.
Like in Castle Morn, I didn't quite do it right. Like I think I beat the boss before I came back to Edgar or whatever, and it was supposedly he wasn't going to be there at his daughter's body, but he was there. I guess I missed out on some dialogue or something.
Missed out on a little bit of dialogue, and he gives you an item. It's not like super. It's just an inconsequential item that he gives you, but it's just like, oh, sweet, he gives me something.
Was that the twig?
I think it's a twig.
Yeah, because he gave me the twig. I have the twig.
Maybe it's something else. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I remember him giving me something when I first came in, and like you go in and you talk to him first. I remember him being like, oh, I'm here, blah, 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 and he gave me something, and then I turned around and gave him the letter from his daughter, and then I think he gives you something else afterwards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sacrificial twig is like, you spend this instead of losing your runes when you die. I'm like, okay, I got to figure out how to use it.
You have to have it equipped.
Yeah, exactly. I have to figure out how to use it.
Yeah.
Equipped as a weapon or like as a
item? I don't know, as a talisman. I don't particularly like that mechanic.
Yeah.
You don't like that mechanic, you said?
No. I would have much rather had a Sekiro style coin purse type thing if they wanted to have some way to save runes.
Yeah. I mean, it's also reminiscent of the Ring of Sacrifice in the previous Dark Souls game.
Yeah.
Basically, the only time you really use it, or the only time I've ever used the Rings of Sacrifice, is if I died, and I'm like, shit, I don't know if I can get back to where I had dropped everything, so then I would equip the Ring of Sacrifice and go, because then if I die, it negates the loss of everything, and everything's still sitting there waiting for me.
But you can do that one time, basically.
Well, as many of those as you have.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You can get more of those sacrificial twigs.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, you can buy more.
That'd been nice.
I mean, they're not unlimited, but you can get more.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like the cost of a talisman slot
Yes.
feels like a lot.
Right.
The
Are there a
coin
max
curse
of
in Sekiro is way better.
Yeah.
Are there a max of 2 talisman slots, or can you unlock more?
No.
You got unlock
4 total.
Nice. Okay. Because I got 2, and I'm like, I would like to have more because I have more talisman.
Yeah.
Talismans.
They augment the way your character plays exponentially.
I'm still waiting for the recover HP on kills or whatever fucking talisman. I'm sure there's one of those somewhere.
I haven't found one yet, but I don't know if that means there's no. I know there's weapons that do it.
Oh, that's cool. It's got to be a talisman.
I know there's a talisman that passively regenerates your HP.
Oh, I've heard of that one. That's like very slowly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a not bug, where you can speed it up. If you unequip it and equip it over and over again, every time it gets equipped, it immediately gives you 1 hit point. So if you just sit there and mash the X over and over again to unequip and equip it, you just see your hit points go up one like over and over and over and over again. So it goes much faster.
That probably wouldn't work in a boss fight.
No. Oh, hell no. It works whenever you're out exploring. You're like, I don't want to waste a flask.
Yes, exactly. I have loved the mechanic where every once in a while when you kill a fucking enemy, it refills a flask or whatever.
It's whenever you do a group.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So normally the reason why it's 1 is you've done enough of them in that area to cause it, or you killed a big enough one where it's like, yeah, we're going to reward you.
Yes, I enjoy that very much.
Yeah, it's a cool mechanic for keeping you out exploring longer.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like, okay, you've extended my exploring time a little bit here.
Oh, if they didn't do that, that would severely hamper your ability to kind of go and enjoy the world. If I had to keep going back to Site of Grace as often, I'd be like, no, this is not as good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Granted, Site of Graces are freaking everywhere.
They really
Yes,
are. I
they
found
are.
one that was like next to. It was like, I don't know, 20 steps from the last one. I was like, why the fuck are they so close together?
Oh, in the castle, right?
No, this was Weeping Peninsula, next to the
Okay.
wooden bridge. There's like 2 right next to each other. I guess they're on different
so-
levels or whatever, but
Yeah.
There's 2 in Stormvale Castle that are really close to each other. Yeah, I don't know. Like, they can be a little bit. You're like, wow, these are really frequent, until they're not, and then you're
Yeah.
like, son of a bitch. God damn it. Who's
Right,
the
'cause-
level designer here? Why would you do this to me?
such an important checkpoint. Like, I fucking made it. Great, because I reset the enemies. Great, they're behind me. I don't care. I'm moving forward.
Yeah, I was going to say, there has been a couple of times, primarily when I'm underground, that I'm like, my resources are like stretched to the limit. And there was actually, yesterday it was, and I was in one of the areas underground, and I had gotten to the point where it's like, I don't know whether I need to keep going forward or I just need to turn my ass back and go get my flask back, because I'm at my end. I was down under half health and I had no flask left. I'm like, shit. But I went forward a little bit further, and it's like I got around the corner. It's like, oh my god, there's the Site of Grace. Thank God I didn't turn around, because I would have been so pissed off if I had to go back and try and kill all that shit again.
Right.
Only to know that I was literally right, 10 steps away. But early game, they are literally everywhere. On the open world up above, it feels like they are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they're not, at a given point in time up in the world itself, you just jump on torrent and run like a madman.
Yeah.
Yes.
The torrent mechanic is so great. Sometimes even just like running through a game, a map or whatever. Like or like running forward, finding a Site of Grace, opening it up and running the fuck out of there. I don't know. Like Travis said it pretty well. Like there's no difficulty slider on this game, but you can do things in the game pretty easily to change the difficulty. And that's such a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen plenty of people that just are like, I will not use summons. I'm like, the game is your difficulty is radically different.
Oh
If
yeah.
you're not going to use summons.
Yep. Summons saved my fucking life. I guess I rely on them too much because in the Ever Jail where I can't use them, this particular one, I guess, I'm like, okay, it's just me. Like, if I can't beat this guy by myself, I'm just gonna delete this fucking game. I've got him down to like a sliver of health so many times.
Actually, now that you mention it, I'm sitting there thinking back and go, I don't think you're actually able to use a summon in any of the Ever jails.
I don't think you are. I think they
I don't
said
think so.
specifically you can't. Like it's you're stripped
They
of
are
that.
meant to be a challenge for one you versus the enemy.
Exactly.
Granted, in Limgrave, there is one where you can get a summon sign in there that I know of. I'm assuming there might be more.
There's one. Yeah, I know the quest line you're talking about.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like it. It's
call
fun.
him an operator.
Yeah, the operator.
Cool. Yeah, you can summon in an operator. Yeah, it's a neat system though.
I love them because they are just fucking distractions. Like, distract the boss so I can get in there and get back out. Like, they're not really doing much damage yet. I assume when you upgrade them, or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I literally did this yesterday just to test it out. Because I'm using one of my summons that I switched off my jellyfish for. I'm using Oleg. And he's leveled up. And I summoned him. And he went up and he smacked the boss, and the boss immediately looked at him, and I was like, look at the damage that he was doing to the boss versus what the boss was doing to him. Going, I'm just going to sit here and see what happens. And I sat there, and less than a minute later, it's like, enemy felled. I'm like, okay, Oleg just tanked it, killed it. I literally didn't do a damn thing for the entire fight. I just wanted to see what would happen. I mean, granted, it was one of the little caves that I found in Caelid, but still the fact that he literally just took it out himself and he wasn't even at half health. Like, he still had 3/4 of his health. I was like, oh, okay.
Damn.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it can make it, but again, the difficulty slider is also in knowing how to game the system.
Right. And it seems like it's purposely meant to be gamed, if you want to, at least.
Right. Yeah, so as I told you when I was dinking around the other day on the Samurai, I spent several hours running around, avoiding all the bosses, going where I had found on my main character somber smithing stones all the way up to +9, because you can get them in the open world without ever touching a single boss.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and then I cheesed the one Deathbird for the Death's Poker and leveled that up to +9. Right out the door. I hadn't killed a single boss besides that, and I cheesed it in the open world, and then I go in, and as I told you, I one-shotted the Tree Knight. I went in and literally one-shotted all the caves in Limgrave. Margaret took 2 shots from the Death's Poker to kill.
Crazy.
And I'm sitting going, holy shit, this just went ultimate easy mode.
Right.
Godric took 3 shots. And was dead. I was like, huh. I was in the second area, and I was like, I kind of stopped, but I have the sneaking suspicion the first boss in the academy is going to be a little bit problematic just because of how mobile it is. But the main boss in there, I'm like, yeah, not even going to bat an eye with this thing because it's pretty stationary, so shouldn't have an issue. Yep. Just 3-shot in that, be done, move on.
Is the Academy in Caelid?
No.
Oh, it's west?
North.
Oh, okay. I keep reading. I read some lore about it in some item I picked up. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Caelid is kind of more like the third area you should actually tackle.
Oh, okay. The Academy, the second area?
Yeah, usually.
So, Stormvale, then the area directly north. You want to do most of that. There's a couple spots where you would be like, well, one of the areas you can't get through because you have to get an item through a quest to do it. But most of the area north of Stormvale would be what you do next, and then after that, go to Caelid.
Yeah, and I should be honest, Caelid is completely optional.
Yeah.
After the only 2 bosses you have to do are Stormvale and Academy. After that, or before progressing more through the mainline story, Caelid is completely optional at that point.
But there's some good shit in Caelid.
There's very good stuff in Caelid. And also an incredibly annoying boss.
Yes. Although I was a faith build with a couple points in arcane, so I grabbed a certain dragon's base spell and made him ridiculously easy.
See, I did that too. I made sure I just had enough arcane, like enough faith just to do that. But it still came down to he's really fast and hits really hard. So it took a few attempts to get things to align in my favor. But yeah, Caleb. Yep, that's a thing.
I've already really enjoyed it because of that sleepy dragon. that was a good head start.
Yeah, I hesitate not to be a dick. I was like hesitating to tell you that, and not for any reason other than I don't know if it cheapens the experience, but at the same time, as I point out to you, the levels aren't really that important, and that's apparent by the fact that people have already, level 1 wretched beat this game.
Yeah, right.
It's your weapon and it's in upgrades that matter exponentially more than anything else that you're gonna do. Now the exception to that being is if you're a caster, then yes, the stat points will have a pretty significant impact. But again, the weapon upgrade for whether it's a staff or a seal is going to have a larger impact. But yeah, you can. That's why I was like, you know what, just go. This is where you go and kill the dragon. This will give you kind of a jump start. Now the flip side of it is I also try and tell people that are new to it, get your vigor up, get more hit points first and foremost, because again, you know, 1 point in strength, okay, you get 1 more attack rating on your strength based weapon, maybe 2. But if you upgrade it from a +1 to +2, you get 20 attack rating increase. Right. So it's like, yeah, versus putting those extra couple points into your vigor, hey, guess what? You can take an extra hit. So that boss that was one-shotting you no longer one-shots you.
It's 2-shot.
Which
matters. Yeah.
Matters significantly.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing is your vigor and endurance goes up, you actually start taking less damage.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, the endurance for sure, yeah.
Yeah, it increases your damage resistances. So you're a hardier warrior, quote unquote, so you take less damage when you get hit.
Yeah, I feel like the stat stuff that I got from the dragon, like I felt like, I don't know, perceptibly stronger, but not much. The weapon scales of my deck, so I noticed a bit of the damage, but then it's when I smithed my fucking sword, when you and Carter talked about it, I was like, wait, oh, that's what that thing was. And I went and found the extra stones and started. I'm at level 4 now, and it's like, oh, this thing's cutting shit up.
Yeah.
That's what mattered way more. So I really wish I did like 2-to-1 dex to vigor. I wish I had just dumped it all in fucking vigor and then just leveled my sword. But whatever, it's fine. I didn't waste it in something I don't need. I need dex, so.
Again, it's the difficulty sliders and how you set things up and how you set your character up. That's the difficulty slider.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at the point now where it feels like it's normal or like a little harder than normal, which is great. That's like kind of where I want to be.
Yeah.
Before it felt like if I had, it took me 5 tries to beat Margit, which seems like low. Like I think people have spent a lot more time on Margit, but it felt good. I learned from my mistakes the first 4 times and didn't make them the 5th time and fucking beat him.
Yeah. And you're talking about like difficulty sliders. I feel like that dragon is there as a difficulty slider. Thing of being like, here's a way to boost the level and give yourself some, I said, not incredibly huge benefits, but enough that kind of pushes you over the edge.
Yeah,
that early game. It
certainly helped me in the early game, where it made me feel like I was surviving longer.
You were taking less damage and had more hit points. Yeah,
yep,
100%.
Exactly. Yep.
And yeah, that is a difficult. Anyone can get there.
Yeah.
Again, it's knowledge of where to go.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the catch-all, because if you've never played the game, then you don't know to go there unless someone tells you or you go and watch a video on it. But again, just because you know where to go and you do it, that doesn't change the fact that you still need to have the skill to be able to beat the bosses. Yeah, you can take more damage, but it still doesn't matter if you can't deal enough damage back or avoid the hits enough times to be able to survive long enough to take the boss out. So, yeah, again, it is what it is, and I'm glad it was beneficial for you and Kardik for that matter. But the sliders are in the game.
Well, you had said it was easy, and I was like thinking back to Demon Souls when I don't remember what it was, but it was like in the 5th or 6th area. You said there was like a sword. You'd like run past a bunch of enemies and get. I'm terrible at describing where this was, but it was like this fucking like deserted, I don't know, like decayed area. And I just couldn't get there. I kept getting to like, I don't know, 4 enemies away from where this weapon was or whatever, and I just couldn't get there. I was like, okay, this is easy for Travis. This is not easy for me.
Yeah, the fun thing is what that's something that I forget, especially with the fact that the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, whatever you want to call it, the whole Souls thing is something I've been a fan of for a very long time. But again, as I told you, the first one I actually beat by way of a From Software game, like fully beat, was actually Bloodborne. It wasn't until I did that I went back and started beating all the other ones. But the difference is the difficulty sliders was the same thing, but at the same time, they didn't make it as readily accessible to get to the stuff to make it
right.
difficult or make it easier. And the reason being is there was no torrent.
Right.
Like, torrent is literally the thing that adds that layer in to say, hey, do you want to make this easier or not? Because in all the previous Souls games, you ran the same speed as the stuff that was in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you could, and the other thing is you burned your endurance running at any given point in time. Like, even if you were out of combat, it didn't matter. Your endurance went down as you ran. Whereas in Elden Ring, that's not the case. If you're not in combat, then you can run forever.
Right.
And the endurance never goes. That's a huge change that makes it more accessible. Torrent giving you the ability to literally outrun any mob or boss that I've come across in the game, dragons or anything. Again, makes it to where if you need to run and grab something, as long as it's in the open world, anyone can do it. Literally.
It's made it so nice to go back and get my runes. Just like run through, yoink, bye.
And peace out. Yeah,
get the fuck out. I'm not coming back for a while.
And that's the thing why that's where they did something amazing with having this open world game with the difficulty that's in it. If you end up in a place that you're not supposed to and you get mobbed, you don't feel this despair of, holy crap, I'm never getting my stuff back that I lost.
Right.
You just hop on torrent and you're like, okay, I'm just beelining straight in, grabbing my shit, and just bolting out as quickly as possible.
Yep.
And I've never once in the open world found a point where I could not get my stuff back.
Yeah.
So, and that was something I think in the previous Souls games that was sorely missing. And the other big thing is the boss checkpoints, having the little.
Oh my god, Sega Marika.
Yeah.
Those are. I was thinking about last night when I kept doing the Earth Jail over and over again. There's no grace point around there that I discovered at least. And I was like, I would have to run back so fucking far to get back here. I'd be so discouraged.
Yeah, which is what you had to do every other time you beat a boss, like died to a boss game or a boss in the previous games, and it's like, oh wait, this is a story boss. Guess what? Your ass isn't progressing unless you beat this guy.
Right, and you got to run way back, like your runes and shit, or what your souls or whatever are at the boss. So you're never gonna get back there without dying. At least I'm not. So it's just, that was just Demon Souls. That was discouraging. Even though I beat a couple bosses, I was like, eh.
It's not a hard thing. Again, I notice it when there isn't a Stake of Marika, and the second boss doesn't have one. Why?
Oh, Godric?
I don't know. No.
Oh.
I should say second Rune Lord boss.
Oh, okay.
I should use the word term.
Yeah.
It's not like if you do all the stuff around it, the run isn't hard. Like you're not going to have, it's not challenging. It's just one of those things where I'm like, what? Why isn't there one
right
after? Here. Like here, because you're adding not a huge amount, like a minute and 30 seconds for me to get back here. Of me actually not doing anything but running, because I'm not endangered the entire time. It was a very odd. That one night stood out to me because I did that today. I was like, wait, why is this one? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's so you can't cheese the mini boss before it. Like you have to, there's like a little mini boss knight you have to fight before the elevator. And if they had Stake of Marikad up the elevator, you could just run past them up the thing and skip them. And I think this makes it so you can't skip them.
But what if you
only have to fight them once? That's all you have to do. You have to beat them one time and they're gone for good. But
if they put it in the hallway there where you first come in to see him, that would it switches
a little bit better.
Yeah. Because my point is you have to go from the classroom.
Yes. Debate hall or whatever it was.
The debate hall I thought was before.
No, it's where the fire wolf thing is.
Is it right there?
I spent an hour there, hour and a half.
Well, whatever. Point is you have to run through the courtyard, up that little hill, across the walkway, and then hang a left to the elevator. And now the problem that I had with the previous ones, the run back sucked. I was never worried about not getting back to get my stuff. The problem is that you eat through your resources 9 times out of 10 trying to get back to the boss.
Yep.
Right.
Which is like
exactly.
in class. Whereas now you get to the boss, you're like, oh shit, my resources are done. You die. Okay, the staff brings you back right outside, and sweet, all your resources are back. So now you get a full whack at the boss, which you never got in previous games.
Right.
Unless you had mastered the run back to get with it, not having used any of them. Which, in some bosses you died so many times, that was not a problem to accomplish. You did become a master at making that run back.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, I have only one true complaint about Elden Ring. And I know I'm nitpicking here. And Anthony, being a dev, will be like, you're nitpicking. And it is when bosses are so big and their movesets are so wide that they break out of the arena themselves and then come back into the arena.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it's not like they're flying up out of it. They're going through a wall and coming back in.
Yep, they get to clip through walls.
And I can't clip through a wall, and I'm like, motherfucker, why are you able to clip through a wall, break my targeting, and then come in out of the wall and freaking hit me? It's like, no, dude, that's not cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nitpick. I've felt the same thing. From a dev standpoint, it's probably like we're just going to accept that this happens sometimes, and because fixing it would probably take far too many resources.
Right, and I like I said, I know I'm nitpicking, but I am, just for reference, Anthony, you'll get this, past the Lake of Rot, in the area just past that, and there is the one ulcerated dragon that just keeps going through the walls and then comes back out, and then when he does, gets me in a bite attack every time, and that's a one-shot kill. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
But again, because of its moveset, it's so sporadic and wild that it does go through walls constantly. And I don't think the only one that hasn't gone through the walls that I've seen is one that was outside. The other two that I fought, they very much went through walls too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting to that area. This sounds like a load of fun.
It's the Scarlet Rot stuff. Once you discover Scarlet Rot, you'll bash your head against a wall because there's very few things that cure it. It builds up really effing fast, and it chews through your health points really fucking fast.
The only thing you'll hate worse is Death Blight.
Which is another thing that has existed in all of... I saw those little bastards, the little basilisks. I'm like, they're back again.
They are.
And they are the most annoying little buttholes because they jump up in the air, and half the time when they do that, you miss them. Yeah, when you find them, you'll quickly learn to despise and hate them.
I already do.
Yeah.
Based on this conversation.
I'm glad that I ran into him with my confessor because I'm like, okay, guess what I'm doing? I'm throwing incantations at you from a distance so that you can't get near me.
Smart.
Yeah. But I I can't believe I'm playing it again.
I can't either. I saw you last night when I was playing. You and Travis and I were all on. I saw that you were playing Elden Ring. I was thinking, is he trophy cleaning up or is he starting a new character?
I mean, what, I beat it. I was like, okay, I need a breather. I needed a little bit more after beating it. Some a little cleanup. And then I was like, fine, I'll take a breather. I platinumed Horizon, finished it and platinumed that. And then everyone's just talking about Elden Ring. And not just like the Discord server. Us, I have more friends. I have more dev friends playing it and talking about it. I was like, yep, desire to play is rising again. And I just start a new character and go.
That's funny.
And I'm as deep into it this time as I was the first time. I'm going faster.
Yeah.
In general, because I know where I'm going, but I'm finding new things, and yes, I'm like, okay, I guess I am faster, but it is noticeable how much better I have become, even at just like Margit. One shot Margit.
Wow.
Wasn't crazy level, but I'm just like, at some point I have learned enough of FromSoft Souls-type combat. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like,
roll toward them instead of
a lot of times, yes.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'm like, clearly I have improved in playing this game over time as well. So yeah, it's been a ton of fun.
The one thing that I've always been really impressed with FromSoft in their games around the Souls, every time I've died, I can always be like, yep, that was my bad.
Yeah.
I got greedy on trying to get that extra hit in. I knew better. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, that was the spell or the attack. I saw it coming a mile away. I dodged too early, or I dodged too late.
Yeah.
There has been a couple times where I've been stun locked to death, and I'm kind of like, that kind of pisses me off.
I mean, yeah, that's there in most games. And I would say it's noticeable when there are fights that don't kind of follow that formula. That's where I would say like the Caelid Elden Lord fight was actually, I'm like, it's a great spectacle fight, but I actually think it's one of the worst fights in the game.
Yeah.
Because if you're not cheesing it, it feels incredibly random what that boss is going to do, when it's going to happen. It's hard to, like, I've seen people do crazy stuff and they can have figured it out, but that's the one that gave me the most trouble. And it just felt like, I'm like, there are times when I'm like, I have no clue why I just died. I have none. Like, just did. That's cool.
That when I saw that boss and I happened to be Faith and able to use the Dragon Rot Breath, I got lucky and one-shotted it.
Yep.
But even then, I was looking at it like, going, dude, if I was not a Faith build, if I was a true melee, how in the would I do this? Like,
30 times. I played it 30 times.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm just working through my brain, like, how would I approach this? Because I have no... That's the thing, is most bosses that I've fought so far in the game, my brain is sitting going, okay, this is what I need to remember when I come through here on a strength build or on a dex build. Like, this is what I need to keep my eyes out for. This is what I need to do. That one, I will openly admit, that one I'm sitting going, I have zero clue. Yeah. Because his attacks are so sweeping, like, hit such a large area. There was times where I thought I was well outside of it, and he still clipped me. I was like, holy shit, that almost killed me.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, so if I had to actually get in melee range of him to hit him, which I would have to do on a strength build, what in the actual F am I going to do?
Yeah. That's the only boss in the game that I felt, just like I said, just didn't feel like the rest of them in a lot of ways, and follow kind of that motto of like, oh, I can learn out the patterns and what's going on.
And that's a required boss or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
Completely optional. Although I recommend doing it because it does cool things. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
It does because of him. That's where I got to the area where it just took my breath away. Like, I just stood there for several minutes looking at it. If I had not killed him, I would not have gotten that view. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah. it's cool from a story standpoint, lore standpoint, and some changes it does to the world.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Because the world is not completely static in the game.
Right.
There are events you will do that will change things. Sometimes rather large and big things will change. So that's the whole thing about when you play through the entire game. You still have it's surprising until the end.
That's so exciting because there's, I don't know, 15 hours in, I feel like, obviously that's enough time to beat. Like some games, are done in 15 hours, and this one's like, the plane hasn't even like left the ground yet on this game.
No, you're still waiting for clearance to take off.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I'm like just buckling my seatbelt. It feels like, and I feel like I've had so many adventures and done so many things, and so many crazy fun things happen.
And my curiosity is historically, Sekiro being the only exception, FromSoft has had expansions for just about all of their games. So I'm like, what in the F are they going to add on to this?
Oh my God, yeah.
Because it's already so massive in scale. I'm like, dude, you don't need a DLC, but if they did, I'm like, holy crap.
What is the one, like there's, I don't know if it's DLC or going to be patched, but there's the easiest one I can remember in Limgrave. It's like a big circle structure to the north.
Oh, the rotunda,
east of
of
the castle, and there's a dude sitting there going like, "Oh, I wish this was open. I want to do." Yep. I'm like, this has to be something that gets patched in eventually. Like this is hints towards something happening in these things.
You don't think there's something in the world that you haven't done yet to make that happen?
No, I'm pretty sure it would have been data mined by this point.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The game was data mined. Like it's not just people talking and finding things. Mm-hmm. The actual game was just crazy data mined from the start.
Yeah.
So if there was something in there, we would know. I have a feeling it's either a patch or a DLC.
Yes, I say I don't think a guy randomly decided to hit one piece of wall 30 times.
Right, exactly.
Without having some information to tell him that there's something behind it.
That makes sense. I was wondering when I saw that, I was like, who just choose a random wall to start hitting?
Nah, it's how these wikis could get set up so quickly. Like they can just pull the data. Like it's because it's also day one on the PC. It makes it super easy to go in and just data mine the content, which is fine. But
right, because you can look at it if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
Yeah, and like I said, that's kind of FromSoft's thing through all these games. Miyazaki's thing is he wants people to talk and share. The games are designed to do that. That's a pillar of the design philosophy.
Well, I've always heard that, but man, it's fucking. I just cannot stop thinking about it. It's like I have friends who are not even in our Discord servers who I keep talking to as well, who are playing through it, who've been playing it through it before I started. The one thing about the community talking and leaving messages and whatever that's fucking annoying is when I beat Leonid or whatever the fucking guy with the Game of Thrones sword, and someone put the fucking message right on the fucking Grace site.
Did you rate it the message as poor?
You damn right I did.
Good.
Do they eventually take them out?
Yes.
Okay, good.
They go away. The messages are gone that I saw on my first playthrough.
Okay.
Through like a lot of the dumb, stupid there's a hidden wall here there's not one.
Mm-hmm.
Those are gone.
Oh yeah, dude. The first week, literally every other wall had a freaking item behind or a hidden secret or some crap.
Yeah.
And that's why I told you it's kind of a rite of passage in this game where you just see some stupid shit. It's like that little cartoon video I sent you guys on YouTube where it's like, where the guy sitting on a ledge is like, jump off for a secret item, and the guy jumps off and falls to his death. But that's literally been somewhere in every FromSoft game. Like, that's just, and I will openly admit, in the original Demon Souls, I saw that and I jumped off. Thinking, all right, sweet. And I fell to my death. And I was like, all right, lesson learned.
Yep. Nah, it's still, I don't know, more helpful than that. I guess, I don't know if Anthony's doing it, but Travis and I did the Seekers thing, I think, where you're getting the 10% extra. Are the messages in the game just from that group then? Or
no.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even notice. What was it? Did you guys do? I must have missed it.
Yeah, so if you go into the multiplayer meeting,
It's the group thing, right?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Right.
and if you can be in 6 groups, and if you put in Seekers all in caps, SEEKERS, you join the Seekers group, and there's thousands of people in this group. Originally, it was started because the group was trying to find secrets and test things out, and et cetera, et cetera. But what happens is if you're in a group, anytime someone kills a ring bearer or becomes an Elden Lord, everyone that's online in the group at that time gets the golden pickled foul foot buff, essentially.
Oh, nice.
But it stacks on if you have that buff as well. So it gives you like or it's not golden one, but it's around 10% bonus.
Yeah, 10.
To Rune Collection.
Yep.
And so you get that anytime. But the other thing is there's also, you'll see like bloodstains or messages that are specific to your group, and they'll have runes circled around them.
Yep.
And so that's where the group has left messages very specific to secrets that they've found, so that you can be like, okay, this one's legit, as opposed to just somebody trying to be a smartass.
Right.
So I just put that in. So thank you.
Yeah. And seriously, as you're walking around, the other day, was it Friday or I can't remember which day it was that I told Larry and Kartik about it. But that day I was went at most a 5-minute stretch without having the buff. But otherwise, it was pretty much almost
the whole time. The whole time I play, I'm just raining on golden fucking. It's golden shower all night.
I'm not going to touch that.
Yeah.
That's great. But when you say that you could put other multiplayer, whatever, other communities, that doesn't stack, right? Like you're not getting like 60%.
No, it doesn't stack. But what's more likely to happen is if you're in multiple groups that are very large, it's more likely that you'll just have the buff 24/7.
Yeah, right. That makes sense.
At least I don't think it stacks. I don't know.
It can't. That seems like a lot. I feel like there'd be some video that says
does, but at the same time, it's something that I wouldn't be surprised if FromSoft did just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Again, their version of difficulty sliders is very different than what everybody wants it to be.
Yeah, but it's there, man. It's really great.
And I feel like that might be one of their difficulty sliders. We're like, well, let's make it a little bit easier for you guys to level up.
Right.
But at the same time, I could see where that could be abused to a point of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fucking game.
Cool.
Yeah. If it continues in this direction, which it sounds like from you two it does, this is going to be hard to beat for Game of the Year. Like, I loved Horizon. Like, I fucking loved it. And as soon as I picked this up, I'm like, wait, what was Horizon? I'm so glad I waited till I beat it.
I'm calling it now. For me, this is probably going to be the game of the console generation for me.
Yeah.
It's possible.
This is my Bloodborne for the PS3.
Right, because that was
generation.
from the last one was
Bloodborne. PS4 generation was Bloodborne. Like, I picked that one up. I was like, yep, this is it. This is the end all be all for me in the PS4 era. I have a feeling that this might be it for me for the PS5 era.
It's possible. I mean, this is shocking that I'm playing through the same game again. I'm like, immediately I'm being like, nope, it's cool.
Well, and you're playing with the idea of you're going to play and beat it again, right? You're just not fucking around. You want to beat it, yeah.
I'm just going, yeah. And I mean, that's kind of the thing about it. There, you can fuck around and just find shit and just go, but it does do a good job of like pushing you through the game as you do it. So that's been a nice feeling of like, yeah, I can go in all sorts of places and get all sorts of stuff, but
yeah,
I'm continuing to make it through the story, through the main golden path.
Right.
So
yeah, I keep wondering what that is, but every time I pop a trophy, I'm like, okay, I must be on it.
Yeah.
I assume like
if
I'm killing a boss and I get a trophy for killing a boss, isn't that like part of the main quest then? Or no? No?
No.
Oh.
No, there's a lot of bosses that have trophies that aren't needed for the golden path.
So it's a grace will point you where you need to go.
Yeah, right.
Yep. You just work your way through it. I mean, if you do full exploration and just go, it'll take you a long time, but you will eventually make it through the game.
Right.
Just by process of elimination and where everything funnels you towards.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an exceptional game.
Yeah. One that I'm gonna.
Everyone's talking about it all the time.
Everybody, even my mother-in-law, was like, "Oh, are you playing that Elden Ring game?" I was like, "How the fuck do you know about that?"
Well, I mean, they sold 12 million in the first 2 weeks, whenever they put out the press release.
Right.
I want to say that they're probably going to be close to 20 million within another couple weeks.
Yeah.
Total sales.
Eclipsing the whole fucking series up to this point, basically.
It has.
Oh, it already has the whole series already.
The sales number, I looked at this at one point. It was shocking. The difference in sales for Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Like magnitude higher.
For me, this is exciting because I've been a fan of Souls games for years. But I also recognize that people find them not that approachable.
Yeah.
And Elden Ring has made them approachable. But now, the other thing to take into consideration is that approachability, what you learn from this, it applies to all those previous Souls games. So now that just opens up those other games for everyone else yet again.
I feel like when I finished with this game in fucking Century or whenever the fuck I finish it, like going back to Demon Souls will be quite a bit easier. Not because
sure.
Just because of what I've learned, like you said about learning the combat or whatever.
The combat is similar in all of them.
Right.
Pace might change a little bit. Well, pace does change, right? The other thing that's going to change is the thing that Elden Ring has done, which previous Soul games have not, is that I feel like every build type is viable in a way that it's not an extreme difficulty difference, right? Like there is some difference in difficulties, but if you go back to, I'll use the Demon Souls as an example. Sorcery was ridiculously easy mode.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Like it's not even close. No other build comes even close to how easy that made the game. You could do it with all the other ones, but for example, Dex was one of the, for me personally, was one of the hardest ones to try and do. But Sorcery, nah, I just blow through. I think I sent you a clip with the one boss in Demon Soul.
You did. I remember that. Yep. Uh-huh.
Where I nuked the story boss in 5 seconds.
Yep.
From full health to instantaneous death, and I was like, okay, and just walked out. And I had zero troubles with any bosses in that game whatsoever with that build. Go back through it with the strength. There was a couple bosses that kicked my ass. But here in Elden Ring, I feel like so far, having gone through most of the first, or cleared out the first 3 areas, halfway through the 4th area on a Confessor, and most of the underground stuff on a Confessor, I'm like, okay, not that bad. There's some difficulty spikes here and there, but are relatively easy. Going through the first 3 areas on a strength build and a dex build and not having much more difficulty in any of those areas than I did with the Confessor, and the same thing with the Sorcerer. They're all relatively similar in the difficulty. Some bosses will give you a little more trouble than others, but if you put everything on it, they seem pretty even across the board, which is something they've never done before or have not been able to do, which is even more mind-blowing for me that a game of this scale, they were able to accomplish that.
Yeah. And maybe it's the scale that gives them the room to do it. You can...
Yeah, because you're not funneled through everyone's funneled through the same hallway. Like, you can just go anywhere you want to kind of level up in your own different way, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit. I think from a design standpoint, it gives them a little bit of leverage there that they haven't had so much before in a lot of ways. So I definitely see it in like the item and weapon creativity in this game now. I haven't played enough of like Dark Souls 3 to see if this how equivalent it is, but I want to say Elden Ring seems like it just has just an epic amount of different types of weapons and moves, and that you can use the ashes of war on each weapon and go crazy with your playstyle. And to that, I think I've now seen videos that push every different kind of build to ridiculous levels.
Yeah.
In this game, like I'm like, oh, if you push a stat to its maximum, you will get to do stupid things.
Yeah.
I'm excited
Do
about doing
stupid things, win stupid prizes.
Yes, that sounds great.
I want to do an arcane build. I've seen some of the things that arcane builds could do. I'm like,
Yeah.
I am very interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, there's the strength builds that I saw, like the dual wielding the giant hammers.
Oh my god.
Why not? Like, yeah, sorcery, like and int casting stuff. Like, there's a bunch of cool spells there that just do ridiculous damage. Can melt bosses. The Confessor seems fun as it's a weird one. I would say, like, it feels like a lot of the incantations are like later in the play. And then they just become dumb. Like,
there's a couple. There's one really good one in the Weeping Peninsula that you need to grab.
Which one? I may have it.
I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's the one that causes madness. It looks like a flaming dragon.
Yes, I got that one.
Oh yeah, I got that one too.
Does a mesh buttload of damage for how little it costs, and it hits a wide area of stuff. So especially like bosses, if you can get your summon to get its attention, you get it right on the boss's ass and then unleash that, it'll chew through hit points fast.
The Flame of Frenzy?
Yeah, the problem is when you do that, good luck having the jellyfish pull aggro back off of your ass.
Sure.
But yeah, the early game, there's a couple that are really good, but it isn't until you get to the second area and get a couple of the prayer books that you start opening things up.
Yeah, that's what it's felt like.
I also feel the same with sorcery, though. Like, you don't. Yeah. The first area you don't get a lot, but once you get a couple of the books in the second area, it really starts to open that up as well.
Yeah.
There's no reason that I would ever use incantations, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could.
There's some, and there's probably some that you could use as a samurai. Stuff that does put stuff on your blades, like.
That's cool.
There's incantations to do effects to your weapons.
You can like add lightning or fire or bleed.
I think bleed. Yep, just stacking that bleed.
Yeah.
Bleed is pretty good, so that sounds good.
And then there's also spell incantations that allow you to buff yourself, where you take less damage, or you do more damage, or you take less elemental damage. It's not. So here's the thing. Even if when I do my strength build, I still put just enough in faith to be able to cast some of those incantations to buff myself. I don't put a bunch into mind and stuff like that because I don't really care. I just want enough to be able to cast that buff a couple times,
right,
and call it good, right?
Yeah.
And there's that's just me personally. You don't have to do that, but I personally find, because there's sometimes you're going to find a boss that has really good damage resistance to physical. And if you're a strength build, you're like, well, fuck, dude, that's what I do. So you need ways to augment that. Now, granted, you can make jellies and stuff that can also do the same things that those spells can do, but sometimes it's nice to just be like, okay, here's 20 MP. My blade now does fire damage.
Yeah, it's blood flame blade. Yeah. Is a key one for the Uchikatana because it can stack on top of the Uchikatana, and it adds flame and more bloodlock to your for 60 seconds. Like,
well, then I need to think about that because that's going to add another dimension to my gameplay.
And that one only requires Faith 12, Arcane 10.
Okay.
So,
which is really easy to do on the Samurai.
Yeah.
yes.
Well then, I'm gonna have to change my item button to something else then.
It's not. Yeah, that's not an I. Well, I guess yes.
No, I mean,
because you're not.
Your
yes.
incantation.
Because you
yes.
got you.
Up on the D-pad is use item. For me.
Yeah.
I mean, only if you have that one incantation memorized, and you don't have to worry anything except for switching over your seal to cast it.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Good game.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's a very good game.
looking forward to playing it in about 5 minutes. when I get this
I
podcast.
haven't stopped playing this entire time.
You've been playing the whole fucking time. This is great. Fuck. Well, Travis, thanks for joining us. Really like having you here.
Anytime.
I think next week I'm going to predict we're going to have a lot of Sony shit to talk about.
Probably.
A lot of Sony news. But this was episode 332 of Prof and Dev Play Games with Travis. If you like our podcast, please rate us on your podcast service of choice, and we will be back next week to talk about all that Sony news that's surely to drop this week. See you next week.
Later, everyone.
Have a good one.